Hey everyone! Sit back, grab a snack, because today I'm sharing a story filled with family drama, hidden truths, and a major self-discovery journey. Meet Margot, a brilliant forensic accountant. She's got a master's degree in forensic accounting and a certification in financial crime analysis, but in her family, she's like a shadow. Her sister Victoria, on the other hand, is an event planning diva who always takes center stage. 2 years ago, at 1:47 in the morning, Margot's work phone rings. It's Drew Callahan, the CEO of Callahan Logistics. His company is in deep trouble. His new head of operations found financial irregularities, like transactions not matching invoices and payments going to shell companies. A federal audit is set for 9 a.m. the next morning. If the auditors find these issues, Drew, as the CEO, could face massive fines, company restructuring, or even prison. Margot spends 3 intense hours on the phone with Drew. She guides him through compiling the necessary documentation, original ledgers, bank statements, and correspondence with the former CFO. She tells him how to frame the narrative as internal fraud detected by the current management team, which could get him a cooperation credit instead of an indictment. By 4:22 a.m., she sends him a 14-page preliminary forensic analysis with a remediation framework. Thanks to Margot, the federal audit goes smoothly, Drew is cleared, and the former CFO is charged. Fast forward to when Victoria gets engaged to none other than Drew Callahan. Margot gets an invite to the wedding, but it's clear she's not in the VIP circle. Victoria orders a champagne silk dress in size 4 for Margot. Margot hasn't been a size 4 since she was a teenager, and Victoria knows it. The seating chart places Margot at table 14, near the kitchen entrance, while the prime table 1 is reserved for the main family and Drew's relatives. At the rehearsal dinner, Margot finally meets Drew in person. He's taller and more nervous than she expected. Victoria introduces Margot as she does numbers, a vague and dismissive description. Drew doesn't recognize Margot. And why would he? He'd only heard her voice on that fateful night 2 years ago. During the dinner, Drew gives a toast, talking about the woman who saved his company at 2 a.m. Margot is standing right there, listening as he describes her voice, but he has no idea it's her. Later, when Margot is organizing the seating cards as Victoria asked, she stumbles upon an email in a folder labeled vendor correspondence. It's the email Drew sent to their firm 2 years ago, thanking M. Bellamy Margot for saving his company. The forwarding timestamp shows Victoria sent it to her personal email 14 months ago, 6 months after she started dating Drew. So, Victoria knew all along that Margot was the one who saved her fiancé's company, yet she kept it hidden, folded between a florist quote and a photographer agreement. The day of the wedding arrives. Margot almost decides to go through the motions as she always has. But then she has a heart-to-heart with her mentor, Ruth. Ruth tells her that she's been making herself invisible in her family for far too long. She's always been the quiet one, letting Victoria take the credit and pushing herself into corners. Ruth encourages Margot to stop lying to herself and start being seen. The ceremony is beautiful, like something out of a fairy tale. But the reception is a different story. The speeches are all about Victoria. Dad talks for 4 minutes and 11 seconds, mentioning Victoria 14 times and Margot 0. Mom's speech is the same, glorifying Victoria. And when Victoria takes the microphone, she thanks everyone from the wedding planner to the person who did her makeup. But not a word about Margot, even though Margot had helped with so many aspects of the wedding. As the dancing starts, Victoria approaches Margot at 8:47 p.m. She says Drew's business partner needs Margot's seat, even though there are plenty of empty chairs around. When Margot doesn't budge, Victoria pulls the chair out from under her. Margot falls to the floor, and for a moment, there's a shocked silence. Then, people start looking away, pretending it didn't happen. Margot starts to leave. She's 9 steps from the exit when Drew calls out, "Hey, hold on." He crosses the dance floor quickly and asks if she's okay. Margot says she's fine, but something in her voice makes Drew pause. He tilts his head, trying to place her voice. Before he can figure it out, Victoria appears and whisks him away, saying the photographer needs them for the sparkler exit. Margot walks out through the service corridor and stands in the parking lot. She takes off her shoes because they've given her blisters. She's feeling a mix of emotions, but for the first time, she doesn't want to disappear. 20 minutes later, Drew comes through the service door. He's alone. He asks Margot if she works in forensic compliance and which firm. Margot could lie, but she remembers Ruth's words. She tells him the truth. Drew is stunned. He realizes that Margot is the one who saved his company. He sits down on the stone steps, processing this revelation. He then asks if Victoria knew. Margot tells him about the email, how Victoria had known for 14 months. Drew is angry. He stands up and goes back into the ballroom. Margot follows him. In the ballroom, Drew confronts Victoria in front of everyone. He says, "You knew your sister saved my company and you never told me." Victoria tries to play innocent, but Drew doesn't buy it. He points out how Margot had saved him from a federal indictment and how Victoria had treated her so poorly. The room falls silent as everyone listens. Margaret's dad shows up asking what's going on. Drew asks him if he knew which daughter saved his company. Dad's response, which daughter, sums up how little he's paid attention to Margot. Victoria looks around, trying to figure out how to spin this, but for once, she's at a loss. Margot decides she's done with this. She walks out of the ballroom. Ruth is waiting for her in the parking lot. They drive to a diner. The diner smells like old coffee and pancake batter, but it feels like the most real place Margaret's been all day. They order food and Margaret's phone starts blowing up with calls and texts from her family. But she ignores them, except for one message from Drew. He apologizes for everything and says he owes her everything. The next morning, her dad calls. He says she could have told them. Margot replies that they've had 28 years to listen to her, but they've always focused on Victoria. It's a short but honest conversation. Margot tells him she loves him, but she's not ready to talk about the rest yet. In the end, Margot realizes that she's been letting her family define her worth, but no more. She knows her own value, both as a forensic accountant and as a person. Sometimes, you have to stand up for yourself and make sure you're seen, even if it means going against the grain of your family. So, what would you do if you were in Margaret's shoes? Let me know in the comments below.